Greetings, Berkshire County. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by our next two guests. It's Paula Consolini, who heads up the Center for Learning and Action, otherwise known as CLiA, and somebody heavily involved in the project, Nathan Thimothe, Brooklyn's own Nathan Thimothe. What year are you in at Williams?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore, so you came in last year completely overwhelmed by Northern Berkshire County.
Yep.
Coming from Brooklyn, you had no idea how crazy it was up here. But we're here today to talk about CLiA. How did it get started? How long has it been around? And then we're going to get into a little more specific things.
Sure. Well, it got started in 2013 as a result of some decision-making by leadership at Williams that we should combine experiential engagement, experiential learning curricularly with community engagement that's extracurricular. And as a result of bringing together the people that have been doing that work separately, we really have become a wonderful force for community work in the region. And the good news has been that the energy of the students has been, so fantastic. It already was there. It was latent to some degree. They needed more support to get out, and we're providing that now. And it's been 6 years. The students have done tremendous work, and we do some development of programming, and we mostly support programming that students are interested in developing as well. And as I say, we've got something like 40+ programs that we offer, opportunities we offer, and then we support as many more student organizations who want to just do more work in the community, and then work with faculty as well.
You need that young energy, certainly, to support all this. And we're here actually filming this in Pittsfield today, and you guys are much more involved in the Pittsfield community. Why Pittsfield? What drove it? Give me something specific you're involved in.
Okay, sure. Well, there's a new mentoring program that's been started over the last couple of years. Pittsfield is a vibrant, larger city than any other in the county. And having watched and been involved to some degree, having lived here for a long time, I know a number of the people that have been doing the great work. You've got a tremendous range of leaders. You've got all the challenges of cities these days. Even though we're a relatively rural region, Pittsfield has those challenges. And our students are hungry to get involved with the work. And having such tremendous community partners here, again, leaders across all kinds of organizations in the region, especially in Pittsfield, means that we have the opportunity for our students to learn. And not just for Williams to be the usual institutional citizen, but to be thinking in terms of how can we work together to help the region and help Pittsfield, but how can our students learn along the way? And so we've got 2 mentoring programs, one affiliated with the EOS at Eagle Street program of the Pittsfield Public Schools. Another one, an after-school program in the middle school at Reed called Justice League. Students got those started. Nathan will tell you a little bit more later about what's been impressive to him about those programs. And then we have other activities, students who've been able to do work during winter study, a student course that's been going on for some time, working with the courts, called LIFT, Learning Intervention for Teens. That's been a class that students have run, actually, under the guidance of a faculty member. And other programming, it's the tip of the iceberg. There's much more that's under development as well. So we're excited about that work.
And you just mentioned about a half dozen things, just right here in Pittsfield.
I know, yeah.
And I see you nodding your head. We're going to get to you now.
Yeah.
You showed up last year as a freshman. I'm assuming you came here for some sort of orientation. I don't know how that works at Williams, come over in the summertime. What drove you to get involved in CLiA? I know when I was back in my old college days, sometimes you said to yourself, I just want something on my resume or something. But then you get into it, and it really becomes a part of you.
Yeah, definitely.
What drove you to get involved in CLiA, and what have you learned from it so far?
Yeah, so I was curious. Being from Brooklyn, New York, it's a very different environment. There's flashing lights, like loud noises, all this kind of stuff. And I came to the Berkshires, and I originally thought, this is kind of like a lifeless place. In the midst of freshman year, it's kind of difficult to see yourself getting involved, right? You have your classes.
It can be overwhelming.
Exactly. You have your other extracurricular activities, and it might just seem like a lot. But I was looking at opportunities to get involved over the summer. And I knew I wanted to stay on campus, and even ever since high school, I've been involved in my community. That means like teaching Java to underprivileged bright youth in New York, or tutoring students after school. And I just felt like I didn't have that kind of connection to my community here in the Berkshires, and I knew I wanted that. So I was looking at opportunities to get involved in the summer, and CLiA just happened to cross my radar, and it kind of seemed like the perfect intersection of, one, getting involved in the community, and 2, learning while doing that. Using skills, using my education to get involved and help out in the community. And so I kind of, looking at that, and getting involved during the summer, I saw that CLiA was like this opportunity to really get involved. And I kind of see the Berkshires now as a really like thriving place. I kind of saw it as lifeless beforehand, but everything from getting involved in the elementary school to getting involved with Berkshire Interfaith Organizing. There's a lot to do here, but you just kind of have to reach out and see it. It might not be readily available.
It really is funny. You do see the life in this area, and you use the word involved probably half a dozen times, and I'm glad you did, because that brings us to experiential learning.
Yeah.
You are getting a ton of experience in it now. You have a ton of experience. You've sort of brought this experiential learning to Williams College. What does it mean to you if you were to define it somehow specifically? There probably is no specific definition to experiential learning, but give us your opinion on what it is.
Sure. I think of it as learning by doing. And actually, there is a fairly sophisticated range of methods out there academically. People think of service learning, problem-based learning, project-based learning, participatory action research. There's a whole long list. We've created a glossary, which is we share with faculty as well. And faculty have been doing some of these kinds of things on their own over the years. We provide more substantial support for it and help make those connections to help them imagine good community partners and develop better relationships with community partners to help them learn. It really is, if you thought of it in terms of theory and practice, you learn a lot of academic theory, you read a lot in political theory courses and philosophy courses, but the reality on the front lines is often more complicated, much more interdisciplinary. It involves you to use many more skill sets than you initially think. And so it's that much more valuable. And these days, with things changing so much, and with the textbooks certainly not able to keep up with the rapid change, think politically, for example, it means that the opportunities to learn and to create new knowledge are substantial. And our students learning, and we try to remind people of the importance of humility in the face of that. Just because you know something about what's out there in terms of the literature and concepts doesn't mean that that's going to always apply on the front lines. And so learning from the people that are dealing with the struggles on a day-to-day basis, or challenged by changes on the front lines that are not even yet represented in research or in literature, means that students can really be grappling firsthand with some of those challenges and really speaking back to theory and say, well, there's a theory, but this reality I'm seeing doesn't really fit it. How should the theory be changed? Students become better critics of what they read, and they literally can create new knowledge, certainly new knowledge for themselves, and then also identify ways in which they want to grow their own learning and decide what their purpose will be in life, because sometimes it takes that immersion for you to really get a better sense of who you are. You learn about yourself as well as about the organizations. So it's a complete win-win. It involves a lot of humility and a lot of listening, but I think of it as a complete win-win when people can put the time and effort in.
Nathan, you've been shaking your head. Obviously, you're a big supporter of the CLiA program. Give me some of the community partnerships right here in Pittsfield. You listed a couple of them. Yeah. How has it impacted you? I'm not sure how often you get to go home to Brooklyn. Yeah. When you go home, I got to imagine you see the world probably through a whole different light. Just me moving out here, I grew up in the Boston area, which is certainly a lot more familiar with the Berkshires than New York City. But how have these partnerships in Pittsfield impacted your life when you go home and the difference you want to make in your own community?
Yeah, definitely. It just taught me that there's so much in community, right? Like, I feel like sometimes when I'm in New York, I feel like there's nothing to do, which is ridiculous. If you told anyone else that, they'd look at me like I'm crazy, right? And it's crazy that I thought that I come to the Berkshires and now I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot to do. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes me look at community in a different way, in that like there's so much behind the front lines that's happening, to fight for the rights of people and help people out, but it's kind of hidden, all right? And working with CLiA this summer has taught me that. And so, in particular, that means groups like No Lost Generation, which is a group at Williams that fights for refugee and immigrants' rights right here in Pittsfield, and they work heavily with the Berkshire Immigrant Center to work with them. That group, it's just taught me that it's kind of amazing, right? That Williams College, a college of about 2,000 students, can get involved in something that it's a national issue, helping with the global refugee crisis. 70 million people are displaced, right? Kind of every year, and that means different countries, all that kind of stuff. There are people being displaced, right now as we speak, and it's kind of crazy that Williams College, a small liberal arts college, can get involved in something that's so global, and I think that has just impacted me so heavily, and it made me see that Pittsfield, is part of this national initiative to help. So No Lost Generation, I'd like to mention 2 other groups. EOS, as Paula mentioned before, which is Educational Opportunities for Success, helps out with Pittsfield, and also Justice League, which is an after-school program that helps. It's kind of an alternative education program that helps students get involved with their academic learning and social and sorry, I forget.
Social and emotional learning.
Yeah, social
but also
and emotional.
social justice work.
Yeah.
Projects where they can actually try to help improve the community. Take some of that youthful energy, guide it toward looking at what are the challenges of this community and how can they step up to help.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's what I moved here full-time only about 5 or 6 years ago, but I've been coming out here for a long time, and I knew Williams College is a great academic institution, a great athletic institution. But it's stuff like this that needs more attention. I had no idea what CLiA was. I kept bothering Greg over at the office at Williams because I really wanted to have you guys on. We just did a couple interviews, one with Beef Fair and one with Berkshire Food Project. Everybody knew each other. This is the stuff that goes on in Berkshire County.
Yes.
You're not a native of here. I am not a native of here. You're not a native of here.
Yeah.
But we've all got involved, and this is what we need more of. We're sitting right here in Pittsfield talking about it, and this is how it starts. It's very grassroots. I'm going to give you both 10 seconds. You're talking to the Williams College. What do you need a freshman coming in right now to get involved in CLiA, a spot where they could help? Each of you.
Okay, yeah, so...
Just show up to the office or something specific?
Yeah, so have an interest, see a need in the community, and decide that you want to address it with your skills. Reach out to me, reach out to Nathan Thimothe, reach out to Paula Consolini, the head of CLiA, and yeah, we can make it happen. Williams has the resources, we can do it. You just have to have a passion, you have to want to get involved.
You know what, Paula? We don't even need you.
No, we don't.
We really don't.
This man said it all.
I can't thank you guys enough for joining us. I hope to have you on again.
Definitely.
Some other time, anytime you want. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Nathan, thank you. Paula, thank you. Williams College, thank you. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.